I think the job of being a teacher is so rewarding in so many ways.
The connection between you and the whole class, that's still unbeatable.
When my pupils are successful, it feels incredible.
I think the greatest thing for me is seeing the pupils that I teach love the subject as much as I do.
I don't think there's any other job where you get the same satisfaction.
That's why I chose to teach.
You could get £26,000 tax-free to train. Search Apply to Teach. Selected subjects only, subject to eligibility.
The Gamertag Radio Store is open. Get your limited edition GTR shirts, long sleeves, and hoodies right now. These are limited edition and will no longer be available after 12/31. So get one right now before they're all gone. And it's super easy. Go to store.gamertagradio.com. That's store.gamertagradio.com.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. Podcasting since 2005. You're listening to Gamertag Radio. With your host, podcaster Hall of Famer Danny Pena, the always opinionated Paris Lilly, and from outside of the norm, Peter Toledo. This is Gamertag Radio.
Here we go.
And welcome to episode 722 of Gamertag Radio. This is Paris, and for this episode, I'm joined by Pete.
What's up, man?
I'm good. Danny, unfortunately, is under the weather, so he will not be on this episode. So get better soon, my friend. And welcome to everyone that is watching us live and everyone that's listening to us via the podcast. So before we jump into this episode, Danny, let everyone know where they can leave us feedback.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
And I also want to remind everyone you can find us over at gamertagradio.com, and you can find us at it's radio.com, correct? I know
Radio.com.
there's been some changes.
Yep, that's correct.
Yes, over at radio.com. And I'm just going to kick off the show this way because Danny, even though he's under the weather, he's been demanding that we do, he give us this whole checklist of stuff that we have to do. So I want to start the show off and say this. We're giving away a Turtle Beach Stealth 700 wireless gaming headset for the Xbox or the PlayStation. And the entry to this is very simple. Leave us a voicemail or SpeakPipe, send it to us, and tell us your favorite gaming moment from 2017. And the winner of that, we will play on the podcast, and then we will contact you in the background to get your shipping information. So again, if you want to win a brand new Turtle Beach Stealth 700 wireless headset for the PlayStation or the Xbox, send us a voicemail or a SpeakPipe with your favorite gaming moment of 2017. That sounds like a pretty good thing, right, Pete?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Headset? Yeah. Why not?
Free
Pretty
giveaways. Hey, it's perfect. It's a perfect regift for the holidays.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and jump into it this way. So I was at PlayStation Experience this weekend. I went to the opening ceremony. I was not able to attend Saturday because it was my daughter's 16th birthday. So I was doing parenting and chaperoning a bunch of snot-nosed kids up in my house all day. But I know it was my daughter's 16th birthday. So happy birthday to her. And I wasn't able to attend day one. After this recording, we're going to try and go to day two. But I was there for the opening ceremony. So I was in the crowd during their keynote. And Sean Layden was on stage. They talked about, basically kind of celebrated 2017, had a little look ahead to 2018, and brought on some of the key developers, from the PlayStation family onto the stage. And I have to admit, it got a little slow there a little bit. I don't know if you actually got to watch it live or not, Pete, but there were some interesting moments that came out of that press briefing. First and foremost was Detroit. Detroit's been a game I've had a love-hate relationship with over the past couple of years, where some things I look at and I'm like, oh man, that looks really good. I really think I want to check out Detroit. And some other things I'm like, I don't know about this. I don't know. But they had one of the developers on stage. He did a live demo with audience participation on the choices that he would make, and got me very intrigued with Detroit. I got to admit, I love the scenario that they went down. I love the fact that we were helping to decide the choices that he made, and it kind of gave you real time your percentage of success. Like if you watched the demo, it started off, it was a less than 50% chance that we'd actually complete that mission successfully. And then depending on the choices that we made, it slowly started to go up till I think at the end it got up to 98 or 99%. And the way that it ended was actually, it was pretty exciting because you just didn't know, man. It was like this hostage situation, with one of the androids, and eventually we shot him and we saved the little girl. But yeah, it was good. That was really good. But I have to say this about PlayStation Experience, or at least about the keynote. They're non-committal to release dates is starting to get troubling. I know Danny talks about that a lot. And I love they had Greg Miller come on from Kind of Funny at the end and kind of do a Q&A session with Sean, and Yoshida came on as well. And he put him to the fire on that. He put Sean to the fire about that, asking, hey, what's up with not committing to these release dates, for PlayStation? And his answer was, they know it's a problem. They're trying to get better at it, but they don't want to silo themselves into an actual date, and then they don't hit that date, and then it gets delayed. And I can respect that because I think we all agree. Delay a game. If it ain't right, delay it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I don't rush a game out. Take your time and get it right. But them not even getting into a release window. I mean, it's just 2018. That's all they'll commit to. Like even for God of War, which the rumor was it was coming out March 22nd. That got leaked somewhere. But even Corey, why am I blanking on Corey's last name from Santa Monica? Anyways, the lead developer. He was on stage talking about it, and he wouldn't even commit to a date for it. Just, hey, we're working on it. We're getting close. The closest we got was for Dreams. Developer for that, she came up and said spring, and that's about as close of a window we got for any of these games. Detroit, we don't have a window for. Days Gone, which by the way, when Greg Miller talked to Yoshida, it's not playable at PlayStation Experience. They won't even mention 2018 for that game, which kind of, and I've been saying this the past couple weeks, kind of tells me it ain't making it for 2018. Right. So I think this game's going to get delayed until 2019 at this point. Spider-Man, another one, they won't commit to an actual window. They just say 2018. So it'll be interesting to see with PlayStation here. But regardless, if these games that they're saying 2018 hit in 2018, very impressive exclusive lineup that they're going to have going into the new year. So I'm definitely excited. I want to play all these games that they're showing and talking about at PlayStation Experience this year. And like I said, it looks interesting. And I know I've been yapping a lot.
No,
Pete, so, I mean, what's some of your feedback from that?
I didn't get a chance to watch it at all. I was out doing family things yesterday. So, I was focused on that. So I'm like catching this fresh right as you're spitting it out, or as I was, reading through the chat on our Discord server, just trying to keep up where I could. I like the fact that Sony is doing the whole, okay, well, we're not going to give you a date so that way we meet target or we meet expectation and we don't disappoint or bother the consumer with a date and then we don't meet it. So I guess they're trying to do that to temper expectations or minimize expectation and only be able to give a date when they're confident that they can reach it. I almost start to consider now that they're starting to push things off and spread out the release of games. And obviously this is in hindsight, right? So, everybody is an expert when you start involving hindsight and stuff. Was it maybe too much too soon at the early part in order to establish themselves as the winner for this generation? Do you see where I'm going with? Like, they put so many titles out back to back to back to back that now that they're the established leader, now they can sit back and they can focus on the titles again. And now they're like it seems like it's been like an ebb and flow of releases now for them, where they hit a real high zenith with releases, and now it's starting to go into the nadir part of the bandwidth monitor, right?
I actually slightly disagree with that. I think when you look at PlayStation, what has happened is they obviously got a lot of great goodwill. God, that was a terrible analogy. They got some great goodwill. I don't even like how I said that, but they had goodwill at the beginning of this console generation. We don't need to go in the back history of that.
Right.
And that kind of carried them the first few years because they didn't have a lot of exclusive content coming out of their first party studios. And what I think we're seeing now, starting last year, Horizon Zero Dawn is a great example of that. Uncharted 4, Lost Legacy. Now those studios are starting to catch up, and that exclusive content is starting to come out now. What I think they did, and kind of going back to what you're saying, is they announced a lot of this stuff way ahead of time. And then it's coming, trailer, never an actual, it's coming March 22nd, 2018. They will never just commit to that. And it starts to get a little old because we're just seeing trailer after trailer. And it's like, when is this game actually coming out? And like I said, Greg Miller put Sean to the fire about that. Like, hey, you're showing us all this content, but you won't actually commit to when it's coming out. And then just going back to what I was saying, they kind of realized their mistake in that maybe they should have held. And he was even kind of asking the audience, like, do you think we should kind of hold back on announcing some of this stuff until it's actually ready? And I'm of two minds of that. I want to know what's coming on the horizon. Like, I like that I know that The Last of Us 2 is coming, and I'm perfectly fine not seeing it until 2019 or 2020, right? But I know it's coming. But on the flip side, I'll take, and just with Kojima to kind of roll into that, Death Stranding. We know Death Stranding is coming. I'm tired of seeing these trailers over and over and no one has a controller in their hand and actually playing it. So there is a kind of give and take of that where I do want my cake and I want to eat it too. So in that way, at least I know PlayStation has these things coming and they get me excited about it. Like the Ghost game that's coming from Sucker Punch. We're probably not seeing that until 2019, right? But I'm glad that they announced it in 2017, so I at least know that it's coming. So it depends, it varies gamer to gamer, I would guess. I guess I'm more of a patient person because I feel like I have so many damn games to play right now anyways. It's not like I'm starving for games.
Pretty much.
But it's nice to know that a bunch of stuff is coming. I just think in these 2018 games that they keep saying 2018, don't just say 2018. Say spring 2018. Say holiday 2018. So at least I'm not expecting Spider-Man, as an example, to come in the first half of the year. You're forecasting it to not come until the end of 2018. That's fine. And if for some reason it slips out of the end of 2018, I'm okay with that too, because at least you tried to hit that date. You needed more time and you delayed it. And for the health of the game, it got delayed. So it's kind of where I'm on it.
Going back to what you spoke about earlier with regards to Detroit and them doing the live feedback. And then you briefly mentioned, you wanted something with a controller and experience in hand. Like here's, for Death Stranding. We talked about this when we were watching the Game Awards. Nobody still has an idea what the hell's going on other than Norman Reedus is having a baby in his stomach with a thumbs up. With regards to the Detroit demo that you experienced, how do we know that wasn't a scripted event? Like, yeah, they can say, okay, yeah, we're going to do, live feedback and have people in the audience. But how do we know that?
Oh no, that was
chosen.
Live. That was live because he was picking the choices that we said in the audience. So there's no way they could have scripted that, because if we'd have picked something like the fact that we were picking the gun, like he even said at one point, we picked something that, oh, wow, I never thought you guys would choose that or something to that nature. It was kind of the meanest thing that he could possibly do thing. Right. So there was no way he that was scripted, and we just so happened to be saying the things that were in the script. That was a live demo of the game, which again is why it was impressive to me, because even as an example, like he had a choice where there was a fish that fell out of an aquarium tank and was flopping on the ground. You had the choice. Do I put it back in the water or do I ignore it? And we decided put it back. So that's like literally a 50-50 shot. If we would have said, leave it, and then he puts it back, we'd have been like, dude, this is fake. right?
Okay.
You're just
right.
following.
I see what you're talking about now. So, and that, okay. So that adds a little more credence, because everybody can say, yeah, this, we're going to do this live and we don't know what's going to happen. But then we select, predetermined people who are going to give us predetermined answers to ensure that we stick by the script and the CGI video that we're watching on screen. So that was more the skeptic in me. And I was just curious as how that was going to play out, if it was legitimately a non-scripted event, or if that was all something, we're just going to pick random person A, and I'm doing air quotes on, was it random person A, which is actually just someone that's a plant in the audience, so that they always get the right answer. So
yeah.
That's good to know, though.
You're listening to Gamertag Radio.
The holidays is a great time to get together with friends, family, and loved ones. With the holidays and New Year's Eve right around the corner, we're asking that everyone please understand the risks of driving drunk. You can get arrested, possibly lose your job, and even worse, the immense danger you pose to yourself and those around you simply isn't worth it. We encourage everyone to plan ahead, have a designated driver. But we also understand that that's not always the case, so our friends at NHTSA developed an app. It's super easy to use. It provides users with the easiest way to get home, even if you're drunk. Honestly, it's like 3 button presses and you're done. It's that simple. So check out the Safer Ride app to call a friend or locate and call a cab. Help NHTSA end drunk driving by doing your part to get home safely. For more information, head on over to the iTunes Marketplace or Google Play and look for the Safer Ride app. Drive sober or get pulled over.
There are so many reasons why I got into teaching.
One of the best things is the light bulb moment.
When you see a pupil suddenly understand something, that's really, really special.
Every child is so full of potential, and the thing that makes me proudest to be a teacher is seeing them realise what they are capable of.
I don't think any other job can give you the same satisfaction.
That's why I chose to teach.
You could get £26,000 tax-free to train. Search, apply to teach. Selected subjects only, subject to eligibility.
At LV, our car insurance comes from the heart. That's why we've just launched our new multi-car cover. One policy and one renewal date means it's one simple way for you to save on your family's cars. So just imagine how much you can save by insuring 2, 3, or even more cars with us. To get your exclusive multi-car discount from the Which Insurance Provider of the Year 2017, go direct to lv.com. T's and C's apply.
For the first time in 13 years, the co-hosts of Gamertag Radio are going to have the first live recording in front of an audience during PodFest 2018. This live recording event is free to attend February 9th, 2018 from 6 to 7 p.m. It's going to take place at PodFest Multimedia Expo 2018 in Orlando, Florida. See Paris, Pete, and Danny live at PodFest 2018. For more information, head over to gamertagradio.com or podfest.us.
Aside from that, and I know there had to have been more at PSX, right? So aside from the Andrew House, or not Andrew House, I'm sorry, Sean Layden with Greg and
he was there. He was there too, by the way.
Did they talk?
They celebrated Andrew House.
Okay, good. I was going to say, because I know, we saw that at the Game Awards, and he's been paramount to the enormous success that Sony's had over the last 6 years. So I'm glad to see that they at least, I was assuming they would have given him his just due as he leaves and goes on to his next venture. So.
Yeah, he kind of just sticking on Andrew House for a second. He came on stage and kind of explained why he's stepping away. I mean, and I didn't even realize this until the Game Awards, that he'd basically been there since day one of PlayStation. And he kind of just went through his history, how he spent a lot of it in Japan, this whole thing. And he's like, what do you say, 27 years or whatever it was? He was like, it's kind of time. I feel like I'm leaving it in good hands. It's time for me to go find my next adventure. And I totally respect that.
Absolutely.
Because he's walking away from PlayStation at the peak of its powers right now. So the fact that he can walk away and know, hey, I left it on top. It's a great way to go out and you go do something else. Mark Cerny was there because when Kojima, because like I said, the way they were doing it was like a kind of like almost like a talk show couch panel where first developer comes up, talk to him a little bit. Now he moves down the couch. Next one comes up. So like Kojima even came up, was talking to him. Mark Cerny came up. He kind of was doing like the interview thing, and then they did that, and then they walked away. Greg Miller came up, Then he had Sean Layden come back up again, talk to him, then talk to Yoshida that way. Like I said, it was a mixed bag. I thought there was some very good parts of it. I thought there were some things that got a little slow, whatever. But I can respect, and that was the other thing. I respect that Sean Layden came up, and I felt like he was very honest about their approach. That, yeah, we kind of use Paris Games Week to show all the good stuff, right? So we were in a mode of, all right, what do we do for PlayStation Experience? Because we showed all the games at Paris Games Week. So they took this format of, let's have the developers come up and kind of talk, have a conversation with the community about what they're working on, what they were thinking. Like, and I'm forgetting his name. They had the head guy from Guerrilla Games come up first to talk about Horizon Zero Dawn.
Right.
Because, hey, that is something for PlayStation to be very proud of. That is something for Guerrilla Games to be very proud of, that they shipped a full AAA game at the beginning of the year, and they followed it up with the Frozen Wilds at the end of the year with this expansion, this DLC. So they had him come up. Obviously, they're very proud of that. They didn't give any hints to what's next for it, but they did make the point that we've now created a female protagonist in a new IP that people can be proud of, that little girls can look up to in the gaming world and go, I want to be like her.
Yep.
I want to follow her. That's my new mascot to follow, which is a great thing. And again, I've talked about that game, dozens of times, and how good it was and how it absolutely deserved to be in that top 5 for Game of the Year, at the Game Awards. So overall, it was a good thing. I would like to see them continue to do some stuff like that, get some tweaks in there. But overall, I think that opening presentation for PlayStation Experience was good. And like I said, I wasn't able to go yesterday to day 1 of the show floor. But, after we record this and hopefully some work commitments don't stop me, I'll be going to day 2 today.
All right. So you talked about Greg Miller being on the show, or being on the stage and talking with Sean Layden. Sean, Greg and Sean talked about opening E3 to the public, and they had a little discussion piece there. So I know that was up on IGN, and I wanted to replay that so that everybody could check it out, including our viewers themselves. So I'm gonna bring something up.
So now, are you also going to do the Danny video?
Yes, I am. I'm going to do that afterwards.
Okay. I really wish Danny was here for this, because, oh my God, what he put in our little, in our show notes, put him to the fire on that one.
Yes. So, okay. So I'm going to play the first one, which is the Greg Miller, Sean Layden on the stage talk. Here we go.
And then we saw a shift with E3's recent, where it was, all right, Shu's not going to come out. You're barely going to come out. It's just going to be trailers, and that's how we're going to run it. Mm-hmm. And it felt like, are we going back to a PlayStation 3 era PlayStation that wants to be more behind the scenes, or?
No. I'm not sure what you mean by behind the scenes, but I think we found that we have this great opportunity every year now with PSX to have this kind of, let's get by the fireside, up close and personal. Let's speak our truths and tell our stories. And I think E3 really, it's a trade show.
Yeah.
That's what it is, a trade show. And we have such great content lined up for that. I really felt, why would I don't need to come up and say, on the next scene you're going to see, Bob is having a little trouble with his son, and he wants to go over here and kill an alligator. You just show you what it is, right? And put it up on
the screen. Is that game in development? Oh man, just having so many problems with my son. It's because of the alligator.
Let's go, boy. Yeah. So, are we shouting out greatest hits?
I think they yelled out karaoke. I don't understand. They don't understand.
So I think this is what PlayStation Experience is trying to be, is to be that real connected, engaged a moment. For the next couple of days, not only we go on the floor and you're going to be able to see some great gameplay and there'll be a lot of demos there as well, but there's a lot of experiential stuff. I think maybe you're going to go in there and think that, is this a game show? Is this a trade? Is a theme park, right? And we want to get you closer to the visions that the creators have for their games and why they make and why they do what they do. You'll see a lot of the development teams and creators, on the floor themselves, enjoying what we're going to do here the next couple of days. And I hope to meet a lot of you as I'm warming the floor as well. This is the kind of show you want to do. E3 is really, it's kind of glitzy, but it's right there. You want to tell that story. You want to make that mark to say, this is what PlayStation games are all about. Pow, 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 pow.
What did you think of E3 being open to consumers this year?
I thought, I'll be honest with you guys, I think the ESA sold 15,000 consumer tickets for that. And it really brought the crowd to the edge of pain.
Yeah.
And I won't bore you guys with the details around it, but if you're going to design a trade show or a consumer show, there's a completely two different beasts. And the way you do it, not only physically, the way you have to make rows wider, you have to have those experiences shorter to get more people through. We have to determine, E3 is like in the middle of the highway, is going to get hit by cars on both sides now.
Yeah.
So it's got to choose a lane to be in.
Yeah, that's not the way to drive.
So that was the video that Danny wanted us to play, and I'm going to play yours now. Okay, so here we go.
It still gets all the coverage, and the average consumer gets a chance to try out these games. I think that model works a lot better than what we're seeing here in Los Angeles right now.
But is that because of the ecosystem in Europe as opposed to the immediacy?
Well, I think Los Angeles is the wrong place to be trying to do this just because of the way LA is built and traffic and trying to maneuver. I don't think you could get hundreds of thousands of people in here conveniently.
Do you think then Vegas? And there's that.
Okay, so I really wish Danny was here. So I'm looking in the camera right now to talk directly to Danny and say, because he goes, Paris was wrong. If you listen to what I'm saying, even in that clip, and that was from E3 2016 when I was talking about this. This was before the public came in. What I was saying was, if you turn this into a consumer show with the because I was comparing it to Gamescom, with the hundreds of thousands of people that would be flooding into Los Angeles to attend that type of event, I live here. There is we can't support traffic on a Sunday afternoon, let alone trying to add hundreds of thousands more people in LA. It's ridiculous. So what I was saying was Las Vegas is actually set up a lot better to support hundreds of thousands of people descending into a city and attending a huge convention like that. That's what I was talking about. Because if you look at E3 last year, and this is what Sean Layden was talking about, I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I think I moaned and whined every day that the public was there. And it was no offense to the 15,000 people that were coming in, because of course they want to see all this stuff. But E3 isn't set up to support that model. E3 would literally have to completely change their model and turn it into a consumer format. And the point that I was making is you're literally have to segregate the media from the consumers to be able to have a successful show that way, the way that they do it at Gamescom. So no, I don't think even what I was saying back then was wrong. So I'm sword and shielding myself in that. The fact that the point I was making was get it the hell out of LA if you want to have the public attend E3. And I think just putting 15,000 people into the mix in LA kind of proved my point.
Well, you actually hear me start to allude to it before Danny cuts the video, where I'm asking, well, what do you think about Vegas? And I've always thought that Vegas, as we've seen with the CESs and every other award show that ever goes on there, and with the hundreds of thousands of people that travel through those streets and hotels and stuff, they're designed for large scale amounts of people to go to an event. So it's perfect. Yeah. It might have some of the negative connotations because of some of the things that go on around there with the gambling, etc. But it's the better venue. You actually also hear Sean and Greg talk about that, where they're saying, yeah, the convention's in the middle of two highways. Yeah, you're going to get a lot of traffic. Like you said, you live there. We've seen it. I mean, we saw it. We saw all the traffic right after the World Series, how people, all you see are lights. Nobody's moving. It's basically a big moving parking lot where everybody's going 3 miles an hour. Do I think it should be moved? Yes, only because it would make life easier for everybody involved. From the consumer, you're not going to be as impacting to the city as a whole. The only impact would be the loss of revenue, because now, boom, now the city of Los Angeles has lost all that revenue from all those people coming in, and hotels and food and etc. But I think if they're going to continue with this consumer-based model of allowing the common person to come to E3, then they need to move that. They need to cut it so that they can start moving people out. So you can make life a little bit easier for everybody else involved.
No, agreed. And there's actually another video Danny had, which we're not playing on here, but I'm talking about at that time Now I'm blanking on it. Oh, just the whole reason I was bringing that point up is because that year of E3, EA was gone and Activision was gone. Activision there was meeting rooms upstairs. So you had that whole South Hall was like a wasteland. And it was like, wait, why are we still trying to do E3 in 2 halls right now? Why don't they just put everything into 1 hall? And that was the point of like, all right, if you're going to put consumers in there, that might bring Activision EA back. And what we saw last year was Activision did come back because they actually had stuff to show, whereas the year before they didn't. EA is still gone. And what I'm saying is, if everyone comes back under one roof, and you want to put the public in it, no way. Oh God, I won't go. I'm serious. I won't go. It'd be chaos. So like you're saying, move it to a Vegas that actually can support it because they have the infrastructure in place. They have the public transportation in place to handle hundreds of thousands of people going into, like, again, CES is the perfect example.
And they got all the hotels
every year.
Oh my God. Things would be so much easier to get to. Just get to one hotel.
Oh my God. Yeah, so much easier. Trust me, LA. Anytime and Pete and Danny knows this. Anytime I have to go somewhere at LA, I roll my eyes. I'm like, oh God, I don't want to go because, dude, just the traffic. It is insane. Like with no traffic from my house to Hollywood, I can get there in probably about an hour. But because I live in the real world, even right now, I could get in my car on a Sunday morning and try to go to Hollywood. It's going to take me almost 2 hours.
Well, we've done this every time we go to E3 the last 2 years now. We go to your house, the day before, we hang out with the family, and then we take off at, dark 30 to go to LA, and it's like an hour and a half, 2 hour drive. And then it's a struggle. I really think Vegas would be ideal, again, just from a logistics perspective. It's the right move if they're going to continue with the format. And, Layden is right. At the end of the day, you have to totally rethink or restructure the way that your event is going to be at that point, and it's something I really didn't consider was, you've got to start now widening the lanes, because we saw that day one at E3. E3 was, that was herding cattle, slow moving. You couldn't get anywhere. Hell, they wouldn't even let us from a media perspective get to our appointments, even though we had media badges. So everything got delayed. And then we saw how traffic tapered off after that. So yeah, man, it's something that needs to be hopefully addressed. And I'm assuming that they're just going to allow the public again for 2018, E3. So hopefully they're either reorganizing, reshuffling, shifting things, spreading things out so that it's, more palatable or more logistically correct. Or else we need to start rethinking plans.
Yeah. And let's, cause here's the thing, it'll be very interesting what happens here in the next 60 days or so, because typically in that time period, we hear about the next E3 and the plans that are going to happen. So it's going to be curious to see, does the public come back? Like, let's put it this way. There's no way in hell they're just going to go, hey, 2017 was a success. Let's do it again. They're not doing that. So something's changing going into E3 next year. And we already know it's still going to be in Los Angeles. So that's not changing as well. I think they add another day and it's for the public or something. I think it changes from what it was last year. We'll see. I could be wrong, but there's no way they go with that exact format that we had last year. So, and I know we're getting way ahead of ourselves talking about E3 and all that, but it was interesting that Greg Miller brought that up to Sean Layden, and you could see in his face he wanted to say a lot more than what he said, but that was not the platform to get into that conversation.
Right.
Back on the scene. This is Gamer Tag Radio. Voicemail at 786-2737-GTR.
Movement Watches was founded on the belief that style shouldn't break the bank. The watchmaker's goal is to change the way consumers think about fashion by offering high-quality, minimalist products at revolutionary prices. With over 1 million watches sold to consumers in 160-plus countries around the world, Movement Watches has solidified itself as the world's fastest-growing watch company. I myself, when I want to go out on the town and I want to look good, I'm wearing my Movement watch. I have the Chrome Black Edition. It's stylish, it's sexy, it's fashionable. Highly recommend checking it out. Now, with Movement watches, they start at just $95, and at a department store, you're looking at spending $400 to $500. Movement figured out by selling online, they're able to cut out the middleman and retail markup and provide the best possible price. You get that classic design, quality construction, and styled minimalism. I never say it right. But with over 1 million watches sold in over 160 countries, you can't go wrong with Movement. So, for GTR listeners, get 15% off today with free shipping and free returns by going to movement.com/GTR. Let me say that again. It is mvmt.com/GTR to get that 15% off. This watch has a really clean design that makes a great fashion statement. So now is the time. Step up your watch game. Go to movement.com/GTR and join the movement.
There are so many reasons why I got into teaching.
One of the best things is the light bulb moment.
When you see a pupil suddenly understand something, that's really, really special.
Every child is so full of potential, and the thing that makes me proudest to be a teacher is seeing them realise what they are capable of.
I don't think any other job can give you the same satisfaction.
That's why I chose to teach.
You could get £26,000 tax-free to train. Search, apply to teach. Selected subjects only, subject to eligibility.
At LV, our car insurance comes from the heart. That's why we've just launched our new multi-car cover. One policy and one renewal date means it's one simple way for you to save on your family's cars. So just imagine how much you can save by insuring 2, 3, or even more cars with us. To get your exclusive multi-car discount from the Which Insurance Provider of the Year 2017, go direct to lv.com. T's and C's apply.
Gamertag Radio is on radio.com.
You can now watch Gamertag Radio live on Twitch.
Get all the latest news and coverage related to the gaming industry.
Join hosts Danny Pena, Paris Lilly, and Peter Toledo.
Don't miss the crew record the podcast live Sundays, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Wednesdays, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Get involved with the conversation, send us questions, and be part of the show.
Gamertag Radio.
Follow us, twitch.tv/Gamertag Radio.
I kind of want to shift into something else because we did our live stream of the Game Awards, and that was great. Everyone that hung out with us during that, it was a great conversation. Being able to do it live with the community. I liked the show personally. I thought this, to me, we're kind of, it's kind of almost like PUBG. We're getting close to 1.0. I think with the Game Awards. I think we're at revision 0.96, right? We're getting really close to this being what this show should be. Obviously, there's still a few little bit of kinks and awkward moments that are in there. And shout out to Khalif Adams over at Spawn On Me. He brought up a great point. I think it's time for Jeff Keighley to hand off the hosting duties to someone else. And he kind of is just the overall, he walks out on stage to intro it. He walks out on stage to end it. But someone else in between is actually kind of handling the moment to moment stuff versus him. And this is nothing against him. I love Jeff Keighley. He's an amazing guy. Every time we get a chance to talk to him, it's great. We had the incident, as I'll call it, with the one developer, and I'm blanking on his name, but that was awkward. I think they need to fine tune some of the musical acts as well. But just the whole point of what the Game Awards has become limit the amount of celebrity presenters. Even the celebrity presenters that came out, you actually believe they were gamers. So I was happy with that. But it's a celebration of the games of that year and a look ahead to some sneak peeks for some new games. And we put those developers of the games in the spotlight. And that's how it should be. And I was very happy with that.
No, I 100% agree. I said it after the show. I think it's a phenomenal move forward for the gaming industry to finally have a show that captures the essence of what it's a standard award show should provide to the audience. I love how they were able to integrate with multiple platforms. Mixer had their own little thing. Twitch had their thing. We had the extension live on our channel. YouTube had their thing. I love how they've been able to capture and understand how content creators are able to use their platforms to enrich the actual award show. So kudos to Jeff and the entire show for being able to provide those tools and extensions to people like us to add additional color and flavor. There's some things that I wasn't 100% in agreement with. I saw the improvement over last year. Last year, I think there were a few things with regards to ads where there was almost trying too hard, where they tried a little bit too much or tried too hard. So I like the change, but overall, I think they did a fantastic job. There were a few things they probably could have tweaked or improved. Shout out to Joseph for adding some major color and life to that show. Some people probably may not agree with him or his tactics or his actions. But I think it was refreshing to see someone like that being able to get their shine on the stage. So
yeah, 100% agree. 100% agree. I mean, it's like I said, even the awkward moment was a breath of fresh air. I mean, it got people talking. He brought up things that we all talk about. And the fact that you have a developer even talking about it as well shows the problem, which was, again, the whole loot box stuff and where EA currently is and all that. You know, his heart was in the right place. I just think he may have had too many enhancements before the show to be able to express it correctly. But I enjoy the Game Awards. I'll say this about Game of the Year, because we obviously don't want to get into all the awards that came out of that. Cuphead, obviously the couple awards that it won, rightly deserved Best Art Direction and Best Indie Game. And for the actual Game of the Year, it was pretty much a no-brainer that the Zelda was going to win that. I would have been shocked if something else did win. Like I said, I was pulling for Horizon Zero Dawn because I think that would have been the fantastic upset. We've obviously talked about the whole PUBG thing. We don't need to go into that. But spinning it back to you, Pete, I am curious of your thoughts. They obviously showed for PUBG. They obviously showed off the new desert map. We know the Xbox version is coming out Tuesday.
Yes.
And 1.0 is set for December 20th, yes, I believe it is.
That's correct.
So I'm just curious your thoughts on all that.
Well, they did the announcement. Yeah, I know. They did the announcement. They did the announcement of, hey, you can play the game now live as of 12 o'clock Pacific. And actually they ended up delaying it by like an extra hour and a half or 2 hours. I've played it a handful of times since. So I can give some quick initial feedback. The map is expansive and huge, very, very open. It's a little, it's almost a little intimidating. Obviously there's a few bugs and glitches. It's to be expected. Again, it's early access. They give you the heads up before you actually get to start it that, hey, this game is open access. There's still some changes and bugs that you might encounter. But I think it's refreshing. It's a lot of fun. The optimization that everybody has been complaining about for months is finally in there. I can actually put my GPU at ultra on this game, or I could put the game at ultra settings, and knock it out of the park at 130 to 144 frames per second on my TI. People who have lower tier cards are able to play it at high with little to no issues. There's still a few things like rubber banding that are going on, and some graphical issues, whatnot. Hopefully these things get ironed out by the official release of 1.0. But I'm anxious. I'm stoked to finally have a new map. I'm anxious that my friends on Xbox One and Xbox One X can finally play this game, and I think that's the biggest thing. So shout out to Bluehole and PUBG Corp for finally getting to that next level and being able to give that PUBG experience to the console players. So shout out to them. Shout out to Microsoft for helping them out. Apparently it was the good folks over at the Coalition who did Gears of War 4 who were helping with a lot of the development work on on the console port for PUBG. So I'm anxious to see how that has translated over to the console. I'm actually contemplating getting an Xbox One S in order to be able to play, PUBG on my big screen in the living room, simply because it performs better than the day one, which is what I have. It's quieter, and it's a little more sleek in size. I'm actually going to be shifting my PlayStation 4 to the living room probably after the show. Just because I don't have a third monitor. I mean, I still have the TV on the wall, and I probably should use that. I may end up using that for something else, but I'm not sure. I'm still up in the air. But I am going to be getting it for Xbox One when I get back from our mystery trip later this week. So yeah, shout out to them. I'm super stoked. I can't wait for everybody else to play PUBG on console.
No, it's good. And this is just the running joke at this point because I haven't been playing it. But I saw the news. I saw the map. I mean, it gets me excited. I want to jump in and start playing it. I'm not going to go as far as get an Xbox and play it on there, but I'll play it on PC. But I am excited for it to come to Xbox. I'm excited for it to come to the console and all that whole new audience that's going to be able to experience and everything that goes along with that. So, we'll be in San Francisco when it releases. So you won't be able to get hands on. Danny won't get hands on right away, but I'll be curious to see the feedback from the community when it drops on the 12th of what people are thinking about it. And like I said, pretty sure I want to jump in. Now, one question, something I'm still fuzzy on. That desert map will not be on Xbox, right? Not right away?
No, that's 1.0. Until those development lines converge into one single path, there's two separate iterations or builds, one for PC and one for console. Eventually, the goal is to have those converge at one point, but they're not ready for that yet.
Okay. Right on. So that was the Game Awards, and obviously, like I said, that's been PlayStation Experience. We're going somewhere next week. Obviously, we'll talk about that at a later date when we can. And with Danny not being here, Pete, I want to delve into something else.
Talk to me.
Star Wars comes out the end of this week.
Yes.
I've not seen anything. I've stayed away from everything. I saw the first trailer and that's it. TV spot comes on. I walk out the room. I've not seen anything. I know nothing. All I know is, hey, Luke is back. That's all I know. I don't know nothing else. I'm so excited that I have stayed away from all the trailers and spoilers and potential theories and all that stuff. Your thoughts, man. Are you excited for this week?
I'm probably going to say something that I'm going to get flamed for, but I'm not. I have more excitement for Marvel Cinematic Universe movies right now at this point in my life than I do with regards to Star Wars movies. And I don't know why that is. I still love the Star Wars story and the ethos. But I don't know. I'm still going to go see it as soon as we possibly can, obviously, just because I'm a fan of the Star Wars universe. But I don't have the same excitement like I do for like the MCU, or I know I'm going to get flamed for this as well, or the DCEU. I don't know if that's just because that's the point of where I am in my life. But I mean, I'll go see it, but I don't have like the giddy excitement of, oh my God, I'm looking at my watch, waiting for the countdown to go see The Last Jedi,
That actually, and that's fair, but that's actually surprising that you have that mentality to it, which is probably good because you'll just go in with no expectation, and that's great. And I have to admit, the only thing that has raised my expectations for this is the fact that they gave Rian Johnson his own trilogy. They said Disney decided whatever they've seen so far of The Last Jedi, they were impressed enough to say, you know what, Rian Johnson, here's the keys to the car. Do whatever you want with our IP.
And make 3 of them.
That is very impressive So he's obviously doing, and I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure he wrote and or is helping to write episode 9. So in that sense, he's obviously directed and wrote episode 8. He has his hand in episode 9, even though J.J. Abrams is obviously directing it, and they're giving him his own Star Wars franchise. This has now become Rian Johnson's Star Wars when you look at it that way. We know the Han Solo movie is coming next May, and then they brought in Ron Howard to finish it off, kind of like Josh Whedon did for Justice League.
Polish.
But they've abandoned these anthology Star Wars movies in favor of, we're just going to give Rian Johnson his own thing versus let's do a Han Solo movie, let's do a Boba Fett movie. They're like, no. Go in your own part of the universe with Star Wars, new characters, new things. Just do your own thing. I'm very excited. That more than anything has me super excited to see what they're going to do here this week with episode 8. And the one thing that we obviously need to see, how are they going to gracefully exit Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher?
Yeah.
That's the one other thing I want to see. And I'll say this. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'll say this. If you kill Luke Skywalker in this movie, I will walk out. I'm done. You kiss my tuchus. I don't want, because here's the thing. Even if they killed Luke, he would be a Force ghost and come back in episode 9. I obviously see they could do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that though. Look, I mean, think about it. We started this franchise with Mark Hamill, with Luke Skywalker. He turned his father back to the good side. He saved his father, in Return of the Jedi. But we've still not had, in my opinion anyways, that Luke Skywalker saves the entire galaxy moment. Because destroying the Death Star doesn't count in my opinion because he just saved the rebels. But I want Luke to definitively be that saving grace for the entire universe, if I'm making sense on that.
No, I agree. And just to make it clear, it's not that I'm not a Star Wars fan. I mean, if you look on the bottom left of my video panel, there's a whole thing of Star Wars stormtroopers. Mm-hmm. Those are all stormtroopers in that display case, right? Those are all different stormtrooper pups. So don't get it twisted. I am a fan. I would like to see the Luke Skywalker story come full circle, going from the youth with the inexperience and the naivete of what it would take to be a Jedi, going to his training. Now we see Rey in that similar vein, right? You see her technically passing the baton back to Luke. You obviously know that it's an assumption that he's going to be training her. So I'm kind of counter to you, Paris. I kind of think this will be the last, or if not the second to last, time we see Luke Skywalker, because it's
episode
passing,
9. I think that would be it. Yeah,
it's passing the baton, right? We saw it in the first trilogy where he gets trained by Ben, and then Ben passes, and that's the catalyst for him to continue moving forward and pursuing his training with Yoda. So here, I think it's going to be a great opportunity for them to pass the baton back to Rey or Finn, because we don't know. We don't know how that's going to work out. But we see him pass we see the baton being passed and saying, okay, I'm ready for my training. Give me my training. And then we see what's going to happen. We'll see. Are we going to see a juxtaposition? Is Rey going to turn to the dark? And is Kylo going to be like, maybe I effed up? We don't know. We don't know where we're going to go with this. So yeah, I'm interested to see that whole storyline and how they're going to do it. And to go back to your Rian Johnson thing, that's supposed to be that's supposed to remain canon. So I'm curious to see how he's going to create this whole new universe, separate and apart from what we know, but yet still remain canon.
He's already commented that this won't be the Old Republic. He's already said that. So we don't know.
We don't get Darth Revan.
But in that sense, I'm actually happy with that, because we know that story. We know how that ends. So retelling it doesn't do anything. I mean, I could see them doing a TV show about the Old Republic or something like that. That could be interesting, which, by the way, Disney is doing a Star Wars TV show on their streaming service in 2019. Excuse me. They could either go far into the future with this. They could go in the past. They could have it in the present. Or the present, obviously relative to Star Wars, the present of what Star Wars is, and just doing it in a different section of the galaxy. I mean, I would like to see I would like to see the Force be told from a different point of view. There are no Jedi or Sith, but there is this quote unquote power of the Force. And how would a different sector of people actually use that power? Would it be, obviously some are going to use it for good, some are going to use it for evil, but we don't need this quote unquote code of conduct of being a Jedi or a Sith to it, which, by the way, that's the one thing I do think that Rian Johnson is going to explore in episode 8 with Luke. Is Luke has been around long enough now and seen both sides of the Force that there is no Yoda or Ben Kenobi or this council to tell him how to use the Force.
It's
that
just
maybe
him.
he's decided. Yeah, maybe he's decided to go a different path with it. And that's part of this whole thing of he's the quote unquote last Jedi, because, you know, the one trailer I did watch, he even says it. The one thing I do know is the Jedi Order needs to end. And I would love to see that take on what he means by that when it comes to Rey and it comes to Kylo Ren. You know, what does this mean? And obviously Snoke and everything. That's why I'm excited, because I don't know nothing. I'm so excited to see what this is all going to play out. I have no spoilers in my head about this. And thankfully, again, I got invited to a VIP event to go see it Thursday night at 5:30. So I get to just knock it out right away. Don't have to worry about getting spoiled with anything. I'll go see it Thursday. Then I'll take my kids to go see it Saturday. So
nice.
I'm excited.
Nice. Yeah. We're anxious to see it. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
So I think we should wrap it up at this point, right? I think we've gone long enough.
Yeah.
I think this is good enough.
I think so.
Again, I want to remind everyone that we are giving away a Turtle Beach is a 700 wireless headset for the PlayStation or the Xbox. And to enter it, it's pretty simple. Send us a voicemail or a speak pipe, and we will pick the winner from that and play it on the next show, which, by the way, Danny, remind everyone where they can send us feedback.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
So again, you want to win the headset, leave us that voicemail or speak pipe. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. So also for the viewers and our listeners, don't forget, limited time only. Go to store.gamertagradio.com. You get limited edition GTR gear. We've got shirts, we've got long sleeves, we've got hoodies, and especially, I mean, hell, it's 47 degrees right now in South Florida. So we are freezing our butts off because we're not used to this. We're used to hot sun and humidity. Feels great, by the way. But yeah, get bundled up. Caveat is these are pre-orders only. They will not ship until after the entire thing is ordered. So 12/31 is when the limited edition period ends, and then they should ship about 2 weeks after that. So if you guys want that dope fresh gear, go to store.gamertagradio.com.
All right. So I think that's going to be it for this episode. Again, Danny, get better soon, man. Sorry you're under the weather. We will be seeing you in a couple days up in San Francisco, so look for content from us from there. But until then, this has been episode 722 of Gamertag Radio. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.